Good morning, Standard 9th. Since your tests are approaching, so students, this week I won't teach any new topic and we will just revise the portion that you have to study for your test. The first chapter that we will revise is the story of village Palampur. So let us start. Students, Palampur is a hypothetical village. That means it is an imaginary village. Next, this village has about 450 families belonging to several different castes. And out of this 450 families, 80 upper caste families own the majority of land in the village. The SCs comprise 1/3 of the population and they live in one corner of the village. Also, Palampur is well connected with neighboring villages and towns. Raiganj, a big village, is just 3 kilometers away from Palampur, and an all-weather road connects the village to Raiganj and further on to the nearest small town of Shahpur. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields and is used in various types of small business. Palampur has 2 primary schools and 1 high school. This shows that this village also has proper education facilities as well as healthcare facilities in a form of 1 primary health center run by the government and 1 private dispensary. Students, these are few key points about Palampur. Please go through these points nicely. All these points are given on page number 1. Moving ahead. Now students, there are 2 types of production activities that are practiced in Palampur. One is farming activities and the other one is non-farming activities. So farming activities refers to those activities that includes agriculture or production of crops, whereas all other activities are referred as non-farming activities. Now what are the non-farming activities that are practiced in Palampur? That we have to study in the later part of the chapter. Next, we have to study about factors of production. Students, production is a process in which inputs are transformed into output. And for this process, whatever requirements we need, those requirements are known as factors of production. So in total, there are 4 factors of production, that is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Now let us understand the meaning of these 4 terms. So students, when we talk about land in economics as a factor of production, so it refers to all the natural resources that is available for production, be it water, minerals, forests, anything. Next, labor. Labor refers to the people who do the physical work in changing the input to the output, and it also refers to the physical work that is done to produce goods. So, and next is capital. It refers to the variety of inputs that are required at every stage of production. So students, in the process of production, we do require money, raw materials, machines, tools. All these things will be termed as capital. And the last one is entrepreneur, that is human capital. Now students, entrepreneur is the factor of production that puts land, labor and capital together to produce an output. And I have also told you all that an entrepreneur acts as a boss and decides how the business shall run. He decides in what proportion factors should be combined, what and where he will produce and by what method. Next, we have to study characteristics of land. So the first one is free gift of nature. Students, man has to make effort in order to acquire other factors of production, but to acquire land, no human efforts are needed. Next, it is fixed in quantity. The total quantity of land does not undergo any change. It is limited and cannot be increased or decreased by human efforts. Number 3, it is a passive factor of production. Students, this is because land cannot produce anything by itself. For example, to grow wheat, man has to cultivate land. So students, we can also say that land is a passive factor of production and labor is an active factor of production. Fourth one is immovable, also known, it can be also referred as immobility. So students, land cannot be transported from one place to another. For instance, a portion of India's surface cannot be transported to another country. Next, we have to study about types of capital. So students, capital, it refers to the variety of inputs required at every stage of production. This we have already discussed. Talking about the types of capital, so there are two types, fixed and working. Fixed capital, it refers to the capital which is invested in getting fixed assets, for example tools, buildings, machineries, whereas working capital represents the amount of money utilized for financing day-to-day business operations, for example raw material. Students, just remember one thing, that these two differ on account of their usage in the business. That means if it is utilized to serve long-term requirements, then they will be termed as, those inputs will be termed as fixed capital, while if it serves short-term requirements, then it is called as working capital. And here are 2 points of differences between fixed capital and working capital. This we have already discussed. Fixed capital are tools, machines, buildings, and working capital includes money in hand and raw material. And the second difference is on the basis of their definition, that fixed capital do not get exhausted easily and can be used over a long period of time, whereas working capital do not last for long and are used up in production. Moving ahead, so the next topic we have to study after factors of production is land is fixed. Students, in Palampur, 75% of the people are dependent on farming. But since 1960, there has been no expansion in the land area under cultivation. By then, some of the wastelands have been converted to cultivable land, and now there exists no further scope to increase the farm production by bringing new land under cultivation. So this is one problem that farmers were facing in Palampur, that they were not able to increase the production by bringing new land under cultivation. So now they are using 3 different methods to increase the production from the same piece of land, because new land cannot be brought under cultivation. So the different methods that they use to increase production are electric run tube wells, multiple cropping system, and modern farming methods. Students, we will discuss all these 3 methods, but before that you have to know that you have to know about the different types of crops that are grown in Palampur. Students, please go through this table nicely. This is very important. You all have already written this table in your notes. This table gives information that what types of crops are grown in which season and what are they used for. Next, we will study about the different methods that are used to increase the production from the same land. The first one is electric run tube wells. Students, farmers in Palampur, they used Persian wheels, but after the introduction of electricity, they started using electric run tube wells, and that helped them to irrigate large areas effectively. Next is multiple cropping. It refers to the process of growing more than one crop on a piece of land during the year. Students, please learn this definition. Number 3, modern farming methods. So farmers of Palampur, they also use a variety of modern farming methods to increase the production, such as chemical fertilizers, insecticides, and pesticides. Students, in modern farming method, green revolution has also been mentioned. Now this green revolution introduced the farmers with HYV seeds. So compared to the traditional seeds, the HYV seeds promise to produce much greater amount of grains on a single plant, and this is how HYV seeds help the farmers in increasing the production from the same land. Students, these methods of increasing the farm production of course help the farmers But then at the same time, these methods also have few disadvantages. So let us have a look at it. First one, students, it reduces the soil fertility because a lot of chemical fertilizers are used. Next, continuous use of groundwater for tube well irrigation has reduced the water table. So this is the second disadvantage. And the third one, the chemical fertilizers that are used, they may escape from the soil and they can pollute the groundwater and the other water bodies. So these are the few disadvantages. After that, we studied that how the land in Palampur is distributed, and I have provided you all with this table. Students, please go through this table. This table will tell you that how many families in Palampur own how much of land. Next, we'll talk about labor, that who provide the labor in Palampur. So students, the landless farmers, the people who don't have their own land, they work as farm laborers on the land of rich and medium farmers. Next is small farmers. So they have their small holding of land, small plot of land. They cultivate their own land with the help of their family members, and also they also work as farm laborers on the land of rich farmers. Number 3 is medium and large farmers. So these farmers, they don't work as farm laborers, but they hire farm laborers to work on their fields. Next, now students, unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have right over the crops that they grow. Instead, they are paid wages. Now the wages that they receive from the farmers can be in form of cash also or in kind also. For example, they can be given a share of the crop that they have grown, or they might also get meals for their work. The wages that they will receive, it might vary by from region to region or from crop to crop, that what crop they are growing, or also from one farm activity to another, like sowing or harvesting. The wages that they receive will also depend on the duration of their employment. They may be working on daily basis also, they may be just employed for one farm activity, or maybe for an entire month. Students, in Palampur, the government has set the minimum amount that farm laborers must receive for their work. But since there is heavy competition, so the farm laborers agree to work at lower wages. So the Dala, who is a small farmer, who is a farm laborer in the village of Palampur, he receives only rupees 160, which is very less than the amount set by the government. Now students, we discussed about distribution of land. We also talked about labor. The next topic that we will discuss is capital. In this we have to study that what are the sources of capital. Number 1 for small farmers and number 2 for medium and big farmers. So let us see. Students, small farmers manage to get capital for farming by borrowing from different sources. Now what are the sources of borrowing? Small farmers borrow from large farmers, from village money lenders, or from traders. Now the loan that they get, the small farmers get from these people, the rate of interest on these loans is very high, and it often leads to debt trap. Whereas in contrast to small farmers, the medium and large farmers have their own savings from farming, and thus this medium farmers or the large farmers, they need not borrow it from anyone. They are able to arrange for the capital needed. From where do medium and large farmers get their savings? That we will discuss in the later part of the chapter in our next class. So that's all for today's students. Please revise this chapter, go through these topics nicely and start preparing for your test. Thank you, students.